So I was practicing today. Something came to my mind. I don't know, like it's been a while that's been coming to me, this kind of thing before. And that is exactly the title of the video, referring to what is transmitting and what is kind of like putting on a show or entertaining while performing, right? I feel that these are two things that we need to make sure we separate from each other, because they're not the same. And nowadays, because of social media, I see lots of YouTube shorts. I don't have TikTok. I don't want to have TikTok. So I used to, like 3 years ago, and I just deleted it because of these kind of short form videos, especially, I would say. I've been seeing this kind of trend in those videos where the player himself or herself, like they tend to kind of smile a lot, look at the camera all the time as they're playing, and this kind of thing. And this is nothing, again, I want to make sure this is nothing, it's a very sensitive topic, so I want to make sure not to offend anybody or anything like that. I'm just trying to make it clear what the line is. They have something in Spanish, they say, especially, they have this thing in flamenco and in any kind of genre, let's be honest, so anything, where they call transmitir, which is like to transmit, right? And I want to, again, make sure that we explain today what transmitting while playing is. Now, what transmitting specifically is, basically, when they say transmite mucho, for example, or they transmit a lot, that basically means that you feel what he's playing a lot. You feel from the player, that you feel the notes that he's playing, you feel the feeling from the player directly, like this. And again, just to make clear, it has nothing to do with the looks, it has nothing to do with how the player is playing and doing. You should be able to close your eyes and you can feel what the player is trying to tell. Basically, this is transmitting. So like I was saying before, right, having that kind of thing, it's a very difficult skill, by the way. So when they say transmite mucho, it means they are putting their feeling on the fingers and through the notes that they're playing. It's something not easy to be done. It's something that takes years of practice and perfecting, not necessarily perfecting the technique itself, but that means that you're just in the moment that you're playing and you truly feel what you're playing, and you're just not playing to play. You're playing to say something. That's basically transmitting. Putting on a show, I like to separate the line, because I don't know if it's just me. You can let me know, right? Is it just me, or is people confusing these two? Because smiling or frowning or doing faces or these things have nothing to do with transmitting. Shut down the video and listen, and then you can tell. So I just want to make sure that it's clear that we have these two different things. You can be playing something when there's something happy, when there's something nice, what you're playing. You can show it in your facial expression. You can show what you're playing. It's really nice. But the priority should be what you are playing, the fingers. That should be the priority, not the facial expression. Doing this kind of transmitting through the help of your expression on your face is shallow, in my opinion. It's something that you're just relying on your face to do that. And this is entertainment. This is, again, putting on a show. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but this should be secondary to what you should be prioritizing, which is basically the fingers and the feelings. When you play, you need to focus on the fingers and transmitting through the nose, and then you can act with, I don't know, this is what I think, and I want to make sure I don't offend anybody with this, but in my book, let's say, I want to be able to shut off the video and listen to what they're playing, and then I decide, are they transmitting or are they not? Are they putting enough effort into the notes themselves to say something to you, or are they just relying on sad face and happy face and this kind of thing, right? So that's my opinion. You can, again, put both things together. So a perfect example of this is Yamandu Costa. For example, Yamandu Costa has both very well. He's doing these kind of very, very fast movements and jumping around the guitar and everything. It requires so much technical ability. You can feel the energy through the fingers and everything, and he's just interacting with the audience and he's doing all these things. That's incredible. Peak performer, really. So it's optional, however. I want to make sure that you understand also this is also optional, because on my channel I've covered a lot of Vicente Amigo, a lot of Paco de Lucia, for example, Sabicas, I was just playing, but you don't necessarily see them do that, and it's not necessary. Look at Vicente Amigo, right? When he's playing, you can see him playing, right? And he's just in his own world. He's like closing his eyes and he's just kind of playing, and he's doing he's playing like very gently, very softly. He's not necessarily doing a lot with his face, but his fingers are telling the story. The same thing with Paco. Sometimes you see Paco like doing all these picados, or not necessarily picados. He's playing like a pulgar, a very soft falseta. He's doing, you can feel the notes from his playing. Another perfect example would be Moraito Chico. He's one of my favorites as well. The same thing. Moraito is like, he's playing and not necessarily like Paco de Lucia's speed and picado or all this kind of thing. Technically, he's very good. let's face it, he's super, super good. But his focus is on transmitting and having this good vibe and energy while he's around the people, like they're doing the palmas for him or all this kind of thing, you know. And he has this good energy. Like he's playing, when he's playing a bulerías especially, you can feel the energy from Moraito and other palos, of course, as well. But he's a great example of using this kind of energy and fingers to kind of transmit what he wants to say. So I want just to make sure that we have these two things separated. At least that's how I see it. I don't know how you guys see it, but I just wanted to make this video to clarify that, in my opinion, these are two different things that we need to prioritize how to be able to transmit. What do you feel like doing? Okay, what do you feel like expressing through that moment? That's the skill, and that's the thing I want you to focus on. I want you to prioritize this. I hope this video can just enlighten you in a way to kind of think this way. When you're about to play something, perfect the fingers. That's one thing. Like, you need to study the fingerings. You need to get the technique down very, very well. That's why Paco said in an interview once, to play without thinking about the fingers is the best way. It's the best form of expressing yourself. When you're able to play without thinking about the fingers, just playing, that is peak, again, transmitting like this, because you don't even have to think about the technique and all that. So you need to work on the technique. You need to develop everything very well and all, and then you can focus on how to play it. I've been going through this with many of my students recently, doing things, for example, playing, let's say, learning a piece, and not just going on to the next one, but redoing the piece over again, and seeing how many different ways you can play each part, focusing on how to play it. Like, how do you feel? For example, when you're about to play, how do you feel about this? What expression do you feel you want to show in this part? I can ask you. Then you might tell me, this it makes me sad, you know, we came from a tremolo and everything seemed to have calmed. That makes me sad. All right, so in this case, it should not be, this is not sad, right? So if it's sad, it means you have to have this kind of more emotion, a little bit softer. Again. A little bit more sad like this. Depends how you feel about the moment. Again, depending on the falsetto and what kind of expression you want to give, and then you do that. It's a lot of practice. It's a lot of trial and error and that kind of thing. But you need to know what you want to say. That's my point. Then you can learn how to put on a show. Then you can learn if you want to go that route or not. This isn't, again, I repeat a billion times because I want to make sure I'm not saying or misleading you about this. It's not bad. This is not like something negative about a player that he has, you know, putting on, you know, faces and smiling all the time or whatever, this kind of thing. It's good. You can decide that road you want to take. You can first learn the technique very well and decide what is the expression you want to give in that specific moment. You can choose either to do the face, that you can learn how to do this, again, interacting with the audience, with the listeners, and that only works, by the way, when there's video and it's live or something. But when you're recording audio, all this goes out of the window and you only can do this through the fingers. So that's why it's more important to prioritize the fingers. More important, in order to be able to transmit through your fingers first, and then you can decide if you want to go that road. Like Yamandu Costa, for example, which is, he's the best example of this. Okay, stop yapping. Enough. I just wanted to make it clear. These are my thoughts on this. Let me know what you think about this. Am I right? Am I wrong? Let me know. I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you think. But this is what I truly believe about that. Just make sure you know what you're watching. Okay? Make sure you understand what's going on. What is the difference between the two things and what you're looking for as a listener, as a player, on both sides. Hope you liked it again, and I'll see you next time.